Yes, y'all. From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas, it's Texas Football Today, a show online. My name's Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football magazine, TexasFootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us, whether you're watching us live, TexasFootball.com, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, all the places, or you'll listen to the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part. Support your local mediocre internet show. I'm sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good. She is the Duchess of the Dorks, Miss 305, Miss 9156, Miss 915.
I like it.
She's Ashley Pickle.
That sums it up pretty well.
Have you listened to Tep and Step?
Not yet, but I did get a phone call from Matt Stepp last night telling me why I needed to listen. He can't keep a secret.
Is it because of Alpine?
No.
Oh,
it's because you ranked the pickles, or the people from Llano.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, so I need to listen to that.
Had a lot of Llano talk on Tep and Step. But no,
I told you y'all missed me.
I think we've determined a target for our next bullying campaign.
Please tell me it's Alpine.
It is Alpine.
Fantastic.
It is Andy Smith, who's the new head coach at Alpine.
I'm here for that. I told you, my boy Jarrett Vickers lives out there, and his wife is I think she's the athletic director for Sol Ross. So I'm down at any point in time.
Yeah, we just need to bully Andy Smith into playing a game on Thursday.
Why I yada? I'm ready.
A home game, to be clear. Like, he can't, I
no.
mean, if they're going
I'm not trying to, like,
Fort Stockton, then, just go to Fort Stockton.
Yeah. Love you, Alpine, but I want to go to Alpine and get Alpine experience.
Yeah, we need to.
I'm here for that.
We need to bully him.
Okay.
Today is Thursday, March 23rd, 2023. 245 days till Thanksgiving. We won't have a show on Friday.
Correct.
So happy birthday to Ashley Pickle. Yay! Your birthday's Saturday.
My birthday is Saturday. Thank you. Old. I feel old.
Yeah, you're late 20s.
Don't say that. Thanks, Tepper.
It's the truth.
Yeah, you're in your late 30s, so I can throw that right back at you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, for sure.
But it stings a little bit more when it's late 20s because you're so used to being young.
I embrace old. Yeah, no, you're no longer the young person in the office.
I know. I haven't been. Mallory has been.
But even she's getting old.
Yeah, I know. Trust me, that's hitting both of us.
Time waits for no man. When's Mallory's birthday?
December 30th.
Oh, so she just turned 20.
She just turned 24.
24.
Yeah,
right.
I'll be 26 on Saturday.
26. That was my golden birthday.
See, my golden birthday was 25 last year, and it's kind of that round number, like it's good. Mm-hmm. Not that it's not a round number; it's a like sequential of 5.
I get it. Yes, yeah. I get it.
26 has nothing fun. So
except being 26.
That doesn't sound fun.
Being
it doesn't sound cool.
It's
4 years away from 30. God.
I got married when I was 26.
There you go.
So that was a good year.
That sounds like good juju.
And yeah, so it was all very good. You will enjoy it. And I maintain, I told you my stance on this, and Craven backs me up on this.
Yes. Your
30s are way better than your 20s.
Yeah.
Your 30s are way better than your 20s. Like your 20s can be a little
dicey at times.
Rough and tumble.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But your 30s.
Well, I'm still 4 years away from that,
anyway,
so.
Happy birthday. Ashley.
Thank you.
I hope it's wonderful.
Hopefully so.
It's episode 1559. Oh, and by the way, I should say, happy birthday to Trisha Pickle, because she was the one who did all the work.
This is true.
You just showed up.
You know what's funny? My mom had me when she was 26.
There you go.
So, there you go.
Circle of life.
I will not be having a kid at 26. Well, not at least on my 26th birthday. I can tell you
that. Not on your 26th birthday.
I can tell you that for a firm thing.
You got about 3 months.
Hoping 3 months is not on the table either. But I can for sure guarantee I'm not having a kid on my 26th birthday.
Yes, but happy birthday to Trisha Pickle, who did all the work.
She did, and she did a lot of work for me. I was a stubborn, chunky baby.
You just showed up, and I presume LP had a tough time too.
Yeah. Trish was not happy because I was a pain of birth, but I'm still a pain.
Honestly, might as well start it early. It's episode 1559. On today's show, folks, we're going to hear from Katy Paetow head coach David Hicks. And then, but before we get to that, we are going to have a very special episode of Dumb Thursday.
Dumb Thursday.
In which we put our hand on the stove.
Yeah.
We don't normally
this one's
get a little controversial, but
yikes.
we'll talk about, I would say, a rather divisive issue in the world of Texas high school athletics, which is, should athletes be able to sign NIL deals? We'll be getting into that here in just a moment. We do want to invite you to go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe to become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football subscriber. We're starting our big push for getting people to subscribe for the summer magazine. If you subscribe, you will get the summer magazine mailed to you before it hits newsstands. You may remember last year we ran into supply chain issues. And so literally subscribers were like the only people who had it for
a couple weeks.
A pretty significant, a not insignificant amount of time.
4 weeks.
Now, hopefully, for my sake,
that does
and
not
the
happen
sake
again.
of the amount of gray hair I have on the side of my head, that doesn't happen again. But just in case, might as well get it mailed directly to you. Go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe. We've also got very exciting announcements about our subscription package coming up here in just a little bit. So go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe. All right, Pickle, it's Thursday, and my watch says it's Thursday, and so as a result, it's time to celebrate Dumb Thursday.
Texas Football Today is proud to present Dumb Thursday.
It's Dumb Thursday. Texas Football Today, and we are going to, this is when we kind of kick around a topic that's been on our mind for a while, and this is a little bit of a dicey one, I will admit, because this is one that gets people pretty fired up. And this goes back to 2021. 2021, when the NCAA lost a Supreme Court case in NCAA versus Alston that essentially allowed for athletes to profit off of their name, image, and likeness, NIL. As has been known. It's the first time that really athletes at the college ranks, amateur athletes, so to speak, were allowed to profit off of being an actual athlete. It used to be that if you were an amateur, you couldn't make any money, which there were a lot of, I think we can all agree, there were a lot of really dumb things that were associated with that. That, like, if you happened to play softball at North Texas, but you also were a really good songwriter, you could not profit off of your songwriting.
Correct.
Right. Things like that. Like, you couldn't.
It has to be for your athletic ability.
You couldn't monetize your YouTube channel if you played if you played lacrosse for Western Kentucky. Right. I think we can all agree that was pretty dumb.
Yeah.
Your mileage may vary on whether or not that is enough compensation for athletes. I know I have my own particular takes, but that's not what this is about. What this is about NIL, and specifically as it relates to high school athletes. I want to go back. Do you remember the great? We were doing a show together. We were old enough to. Or you're old enough to do a show with me at that point.
I'm just old.
Do you remember the great Quinn Ewers panic?
Oh yes,
of
about
2021.
How when he decided to forgo his senior season, the first thing out of most people's mouth was, "This is the end of Texas high school football."
Oh yeah, there was a great panic about Quinn Ewers, because Quinn Ewers, star quarterback, blue chip quarterback there at South Lake Carroll, decided to essentially forego his senior season at South Lake Carroll, graduate early, reclassify, and enroll at Ohio State.
And not just graduate early as in December graduates like most athletes who are of that caliber do. He graduated a whole year early, technically calendar-wise, in May.
Yes, he did.
Or August after summer school, I think is technically how they did it.
And the reason was, one of the reasons that was thrown about was that he was going to sign a very lucrative The numbers got really wacky as far as what it were.
I think most people think it was $1 million.
About $1 million
for a kombucha company.
$1 million NIL deal, but he could not do that as a player at South Lake Carroll. We'll get into that in a moment. He could not do that, and so he said, I want to cash in on this. This is a simplification. I'll be very clear. It's a much more nuanced thing. But the narrative was he wants to be able to cash that NIL deal. He can't do that as a high school athlete. He can as a college athlete. So he essentially fast-forwarded to get to college as quickly as he could by reclassifying into the class of 2021 and signing with Ohio State and enrolling at Ohio State and then cashing in his NIL deal. Okay. And I remember doing that show and telling people, I promise you, this is an outlier.
Mainly, and honestly, just from a very fundamental standpoint, most student athletes do not have that number of credits. Like, he had to start working on all of those extra credits he was getting in high school his freshman or sophomore year.
Functionally, it became pretty clear, like in hindsight now, when you think about it,
that
he was at the very least planning to graduate early, like a lot of players, which is graduate in December, enroll early and stuff. And
go
so
through
he was already fast forwarding through one semester, right? And essentially what it kind of sounds like is he made a decision somewhere along the lines through summer school and through just that he made a decision, I'm going to fast forward through an extra semester.
Correct.
We sat here on the show and we said, don't panic. I promise you that this is going to be an outlier. This is not going to be something that happens all the time.
No.
And I don't think I can remember another player doing that.
No.
It's now been 2 years, basically.
There have been who was it? There was someone that did not play their senior season, but they didn't go to college. They just straight up
Jadon Blue.
That's exactly what it was.
Kane.
Yeah.
He
didn't enroll in college.
He didn't enroll in college. He just said, you know what?
Running backs get a lot of miles on them. Right. I'm not willing to put my body through another year that I don't need to. Was basically his reasoning.
He wants to go play the next level, and so as a result, I'm going to save the carries. Okay. The reason that that Quinn Ewers had to do that is because presently Texas is one of the states in the union that does not allow for athletes, Texas high school football athletes, to engage in NIL activities. Now, one of the things that is interesting about Texas, is that this is not a UIL rule. This is not a UIL rule. This is a Senate bill.
Yes. That
the Senate Bill 1385 prohibited high school athletes from engaging in NIL activities. That basically it prohibits student athletes from monetizing their name, image, and likeness. Now, there is a bill going through the legislature right now to repeal that. We can debate that a little bit. That is, I don't pay all that much attention to the Texas legislature. I don't think it has the juice to get through. No. But we'll find out. You contrast that with a state like California. California does allow for players to be compensated for the name, images, likeness, so long as there's no recognition of the student-athlete school logos, uniforms, and insignias. That is pretty standard for professional athletes. You watch like a commercial with Dak Prescott. Even if he's wearing a uniform, it's like it doesn't have the star on it.
It's a plain blue uniform.
It's like generic. It can look like a Cowboys uniform, but it won't have the Cowboys insignia on it.
Correct.
Things like that. There's a weird commercial where he's getting tackled by like the Real Housewives.
Yes.
Yeah. It looks like a Cowboys uniform.
It does.
You see Dak Prescott, so you're like, oh, okay. It's.
But you will not see a star with the trademark symbol on it at all.
Exactly right. So, this gets into the debate as to whether or not Texas high school football athletes should be able to sign NIL deals. A lot of it goes back to the Quinn Ewers situation because there was that kind of panic of, oh my gosh, is this going to kill Texas high school football that we are not allowing our players to monetize their name, image, and likeness. I think I figured out that where I stand on it is that I don't actually care. I don't, but I want to draw a real line here. First of all, I think if you're 18 years old, you should be able to enter into a job, into a contract. Like, you're an adult, and there shouldn't be all that many more regulations that allow you to go and enter that. I do think, though, that there is a difference between the NIL deals that we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
What I would prefer not to see, but I don't think I'm particularly against, would be somebody coming in and giving Nike coming in and giving a 5-star running back $1 million NIL deal. Because I think ultimately that is going to be a net negative for Texas high school football. I think that if you have this one like superstar on a team, then that may in fact hurt the sport as a whole. That one I would prefer not to see, but if I suppose get money, I don't want to be pocket watching, for them. That if you get it, I might grumble a little bit, but you shouldn't make that decision based on me. Mm-hmm. What I think I'm definitely in favor of, and what I wouldn't mind at all, would be that if what's your favorite local restaurant in Atlanta?
China Walk.
China Walk.
If my buddy Michael from China Walk.
If China Walk wants to give the star quarterback for Llano High School $500 to tweet about how much he likes China Walk and maybe appear on some posters and stuff like that of like, hey, the Jake Pickle loves China Walk.
Right.
I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
I think for me, because that is functionally what I think the majority of these deals would be.
Mm-hmm.
The majority of them would be modestly low-dough deals.
Mom and pop shops.
Local deals.
Yeah. Right?
It might be the local Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent.
Well,
right?
and at that point, you can even take it a step further and talk about how that's benefiting the economy of your local place. Like if they're tweeting about it and then people going through town say, oh, we're in Atlanta, let's go stop at China Walk because we heard so-and-so talk about it. You're funneling more money. Economically, it could work.
I don't think that hurts Texas high school football. I also don't think that would have some sort of major impact on team morale or anything like that.
Right.
I think that ultimately those types of deals I have no problem with. Mm-hmm. I think that especially if you're 18, you should be able to enter into that kind of contract and everybody can win. The big $1 million national deals make me a little bit tense simply because we are talking about high school athletes here. Mm-hmm. And we can talk about whether or not college athletes are amateurs. I think the difference between amateurism as a high school athlete and differences in amateurism as a college athlete
are totally
very
different
different
things.
Because college athletes are already being compensated in some way with a
scholarship.
And so as a result, I think they should be free to be compensated however.
Correct.
High school athletes is a little bit different because they're not being compensated. They're playing fundamentally for the love of the game, you would think. That, to me, is a real distinction. And I think that kind of gets lost in this conversation.
Right. Because technically, I think it's an on-off switch. Like, I think
yes.
It's either going to be on or it's either going to be off. Like, I don't think that you could say, because realistically, you could think like, maybe it would be great if we said, okay, you can do $25,000 a year as your max NIL grab, and by the time you go to college, you would have $100,000 to put towards college, which is a reasonable college tuition. Mm-hmm. So it's like maybe, but it's that you can't regulate it that way.
No, and that's the thing. You can't put caps on it. You can't do anything like that. It would have to be an on-off switch. Mm-hmm. My ultimate, I think where I end up landing on it is I think I would prefer if they could sign NIL deals. I know coaches don't want it because we're doing a coaches survey on the survey or on our questionnaire, and overwhelmingly coaches don't want it. Mm-hmm. I think as a fan and as a neutral observer, and coaches are going to hate me for saying this, I don't think I have a problem with it. But I do think that there are some parts of it that would make me feel icky, and there are other parts of it that I think would be fine.
There are two things of how my brain works with this. One, I have a hard time even thinking about getting to the point where the athletes can get that, because my mind as a person who has parents in it that work in education, and obviously we spend a lot of time talking to coaches, there would need to be someone on staff that specifically handles NIL deals, because these head coaches don't have any more time on their hands to be able to handle all of that, to make sure that it's legitimate, to make sure that the taxes get taken out of it, to do all that. Like, they don't have enough time to do that. So if every single school district says, yes, we can we can have one person, we can hire one person on staff and we have the money to do that, then it's like, okay, then it can actually be regulated.
Yeah.
But teachers don't get paid enough as it is. And the thought of hiring another person to specifically handle that in every single school district, it's not feasible.
And the other thing about that is and I mentioned that high school coaches on our survey overwhelmingly against it. And I get that. There's no upside for coaches. There really isn't. That if you start allowing that, that is only going to make their job harder. Because even if you have, let's take the China Walk example. Even if you have one guy on your team who's making $100 from the local Chinese restaurant, you are then going to have to deal with him in the locker room and everyone else knowing that happened, and there being just a difference in that, and suddenly you have a superstar. And I know a lot of coaches want to build a culture of we're all equal, we're all pulling the rope in the same direction, right? So I get it. I absolutely get it from a coach's perspective.
Right, correct.
And I fully expect coaches to say, Tepper, you're 100% wrong on this.
Right.
And that's fine. But I do think that what I get back to is that if you're 18 years old,
yes,
and you do have this skill set, you should be able to capitalize on that skill set, because that is kind of what we've set up capitalism to be. That's just kind of where I'm at.
The other thing that always gives me like legitimate concern, if I am able to make it past just the fundamentally so many things would have to change to make it work. I'm not saying that I'm against it from an athlete perspective, but from a school district perspective. The other thing that makes me very nervous is, as much as I hate to say it, there are a lot of not good people in this world. There are a lot of grifters who will see the freshman that makes it onto varsity that is going to be a star for the next 4 years. They are 14 years old. Like, if you want to talk about there are crappy people out there that would go offer this deal. And as a 14-year-old, if I heard, we're going to give you $5,000, I'd be like, I'm rich, Like, it worries me, not for the athletes. I'm not worried about the Texas high school football athletes. I'm worried about the grown adults that would do them wrong. Like, that's where my concern comes into play.
I think that is a really valid point. And I think that you look at, I wish we had Ish in here. I think if you look at basketball with the AAU situation and stuff like that, that has gotten so wildly out of control.
Yep.
And with street agents and things like that. And I think that is probably the strongest argument against it, which is if you allow NIL deals, you're kind of opening the door for the fox getting the hen house.
Yep. And it's like crazy to say that I would trust a 14-year-old more than some of these adults, legitimately.
But you're not wrong, though. You're not wrong. Is that there are, whenever there's something with eyeballs on it, people are going to want to make money off of it.
And there's just crappy adults out there.
Right. Absolutely. That's why, again, I go back to the idea of being 18.
Correct.
You're at that point, and one of the things that Texas high school football, I think, has done really well the UIL has done, they've tried to toe the line of being as inclusive as possible, while also making sure to keep all of the, ne'er-do-wells, let's call it, the grifters, out of Texas high school football. There are some that sneak in, absolutely, but they have done a pretty admirable job of maintaining, between them and the Texas High School Coaches Association. That's why that straight line recruiting thing was such a big push for them. We want recruiting to go through the Texas high school coaches, because we know that they have the athlete's best interest at heart.
Right.
That is, to me, the best argument against the NIL deal.
Yeah.
That's why I think where I land on it is I don't have a strong opinion.
Correct.
If it were to happen, I'd be like, there are things about it that make me feel icky. But in the end, if you're 18, I don't have a problem with you.
Right, and that's the funny thing about being 18. My birthday's not till March. Yours isn't till June. You were not. You graduated when you were 17.
I graduated
bet.
when I was 17.
Yeah, and
so
it's like I played basketball, but guess what? Basketball's done on March 25th.
Yep.
Like, there's no more girls basketball left to play, so it wouldn't have worked.
Right, exactly. Anyway, I think this is one of those situations, one of those debates where I think there's reasonable arguments on both sides.
Correct.
I think in a real dumb Thursday moment, I think where I land on it is I'm like, I'm
not going to put that much thought into it until the conversation really happens.
Right, and for now, it's not legal in Texas.
Yeah. And I see the logistical side of it.
My read on it is that it's probably not going to be illegal in Texas for the foreseeable future. And I think that if you point to the Quinn Ewer situation as the reason to do it, I think that is a fallacious argument because that's such
that's a needle in a haystack.
Singular example. So there you go. There's a little bit of dumb Thursday. We're Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football on the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Hope you'll consider going to TexasFootball.com/subscribe to become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football subscriber. Now, word from our friends.
Born and bred in Texas hits a little different, as it should. Texas loves doing business with fellow Texans. VCR Now takes its Texas roots as seriously as its many partnerships with schools and universities around the state. It's also why we're so proud to promote our brand in the pages of the Texas Bible, Dave Campbell's Texas Football, and on the airwaves of Texas Football Today. Driven by producing quality broadcast video, state-of-the-art audio, and LED video scoreboards at affordable prices, VCR Now makes sure to listen to your needs in its athletic department before recommending the next best steps. Building great products is our business, and it's our focus on building meaningful, long-term partnerships with our clients that sets us apart. From our 24/7, 365-day help desk, the training lab in our hometown of Red Oak, or our sports marketing business plan that puts money back in the hands of our athletic departments we support, VCR Now is built to last. Reach out to us today at info@vcrnow.com or by calling 855-GO-VCR-NOW. Again, that's info@vcrnow.com or by calling 855-GO-VCR-NOW.
The 83rd KitchenAid Senior PGA Championship, the most historic and prestigious event in senior golf, kicks off an unprecedented run of major championships coming to PGA Frisco over the next 11 years. From May 24th to May 28th, join us as the best golfers over the age of 50 compete to have their name etched on the Alfred S. Bourne Trophy. Past senior PGA champions have included true legends of the game like Sarazen, Snead, Palmer, Nicklaus, Player, and Watson. A limited number of hospitality, pro-am, and ticket opportunities remain available for you to be a part of the first major championship at PGA Frisco. And keep in mind, corporate clients and ticket purchasers at this May's KitchenAid Senior PGA Championship will receive priority access to offerings at future major championships held at PGA Frisco, including the 2025 KPMG Women's PGA Championship and the 2027 PGA Championship. Visit srpga.com for more information. Greg Powers is a person who works here.
Correct.
He was down in Houston recently, specifically Katy Paetow.
Correct.
Specifically Katy Paetow High School. Specifically the office of Katy Paetow head coach David Hicks, and caught up with the head coach of the Paetow Panthers. Here is Greg Powers' conversation with David Hicks, head coach of Katy Paetow, here on Texas Football Today.
Greg Powers, Dave Campbell's Texas Football, and I'm out here at Katy Paetow High School. Man, a little tongue-tied at the beginning of this with Coach Hicks. He's intimidating me with his presence. Look, he's all look like an NFL player. And, no, seriously, Coach, thanks for having me out here. I just kind of want to talk to you a little bit about what it's been like so far since you've been named head coach and starting to run this program underneath of your guidance. How have you liked it so far?
Oh, it's been awesome. You know, in short terms, busy, really busy, but it's really been a blessing. You know, it's something that I've really been shooting for. So, you know, we just got to get it going and keep going in the right direction.
I got to talk a little bit about the 2023 season. You know, a lot of eyes are going to be on you guys out here. How's it stacking up? How are the kids performing in off season?
Kids before having a great off season. Kids are having a great off season. They're really locked in. They're bought in. I mean, there's nothing to do but go up from here. You know, I think the kids have really grown and, you know, really taken leadership, and we've really been putting a lot of really character development inside of them. So,
a lot of talent walking the hallways. You got to raise one yourself, David Hicks Jr., who's now, you know, signed with Texas A&M. What did you learn from David's recruitment that you can now utilize as you coach, you know, some of the guys coming up underneath of your tutelage here walking the hallways at Paetow?
You know, seeing it from a different perspective of a coach and a parent, you know, I've been really able to see, you know, it really turned tenfold to really be able to navigate kids and parents, to tell them this is what I did, it worked for me. And also as a coach to say, you know, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. And for them to really understand. And, you know, they seen the success of DJ. So, of course, they'll buy in and they'll listen to it. So,
Gotcha. And I got to talk a little bit about the talent you got coming up next year and the years beyond. You know, I'm a little bit of a recruiting nerd myself. I can't help it, you know, and you got some really impressive talent. And I'm going to start in 2024 with defensive end Logan Thomas, who went out to the National All-American Combine, won MVP. Offers are flying in, you know, from left and right. What makes Thomas such a special player, and why are all these colleges tracking him now?
His leadership. He's bar none. His leadership, his hard work, his work ethic. I mean, it all shows. You know, I remember when I first got here, he was 190. Now he's up to, 210, 215. And, he's really buying into it. He's running track. He's running a 4x1. He's running an open 200. He's doing all of that 215, which is pretty amazing.
He brings a little bit of a different element, I think, than what, like Jar Anderson or DJ brought, kind of like a edge guy.
A true edge guy. Very athletic, long, lean, can bend. He has so much ceiling. I think his upside is pretty high.
Fans of Paetow High School will remember the name Damian Sanford because he helped him win a state championship, and now he's at A&M. His younger brother, Dejon Pettaway, is coming up in the class of 2025. A lockdown corner. Some even have him rated as the #1 guy in the country already. Yeah,
he's almost like call him two-step sometimes. He moves so fast. Get anywhere in 2 steps, Last year, he was a 10.6 100-meter guy as a freshman. So as a 10th grader, he's ran one meet. The first meet was a 10.7. I think by the end of the state meet, he'll be down to, a 10.3, coming off of a slight little hamstring. And, but it's just, again, he's really a leadership. I think another great kid is going to, he's going to be here in the morning time. He's going to show up after school. He's going to do everything you ask him to do. He's going to make good grades. He's special.
I got to ask you about a guy who moved in later into the year, and that's Carmelo Brooks, a big defensive lineman. I know that you got to get excited when you see a new defensive lineman coming into the school, and he's going to be a guy that probably people find out a lot about really quick next season.
Yeah, I'm excited about Carmelo. Carmelo. He, funny, he spends a lot of time with DJ, so he works hard and he has it in him. He not only passed the eye test, but, just the sheer numbers and strength that he puts out. Funny is, we were waiting on a couple of PAPF things. So during JV games, he's playing running back and fullback and nose guard and 3-tech, play defensive end. So he's really a guy that can play all across the line of scrimmage, and to be that big and, that athletic, he's just another special kid.
He's definitely going to enter next season a little bit hungry. I talked to him a little bit before we talked, and he's ready to go. He said how to play JV basketball and all. I was like, he's ready. So I'm excited to see what he's bringing to the table. I'm going to ask you about one of our sleepers, I think. And that's going to be Joe Ugwu, a guy who runs track. He's a big frame guy with limited football experience. Why should Paetow fans be excited about him and colleges as well?
Joe is really raw. He's learning. He's coming into his own. He's only been playing, football for 2 years. He really started to blow up on Twitter when he's squatting, 450 for reps and going low. Yeah, he definitely passed the eyeball test at 6'5", and and he's again another worker. Between I tell him all the time, I think he's going to be great because he goes against Carmelo every day in practice. They come in, they work after school, they work together before school. Him and another kid named Carl Broussard. Those three are really great tandem when they come to working out, and they're just gonna grow together.
Reasons to be excited here at Katy Paetow High School. Coach Hicks, thanks for the time and good luck as you attack your first full year as the HC here, man. Thanks again.
Hey, no, thank you so much for coming out, spending time. We just appreciate everything you guys do.
Thank you again.
There he is, David Hicks, head coach of the Katy Paetow Panthers. Joined Greg Powers last week. We appreciate Coach Hicks' time. His son's pretty good. His son's a Dave Campbell's cover boy.
Correct.
And yeah, excited to see what Paetow's got cooking. They are. We mentioned it yesterday when we talked about their outstanding not new defensive lineman Logan Thomas, but the kind of the new star.
Yeah, the new defensive end.
They've got dudes they're absolutely loaded, but it is a tough district, and I think Coach Hicks is going to be able to guide them through it. So excited to see what they're able to do. Let's go over to Ashley Pickle for America's second favorite segment. Final thoughts?
Coming up at 2 o'clock today, 2 o'clock, we will be having Women Talking Football. Mallory and I are talking to Faith Alexa, a country music star. We'll explain what her ties to Texas high school football are. But if you're curious in that, 2 o'clock,
Does she
wherever
have
you're
a
watching
Texas high school football song?
I don't know if she does yet.
You should ask her to write one.
And
then also,
it could be the theme song for WTF. Boom.
That's what I'm getting at. Because I was thinking about this the other day. The theme song for TFT is nice.
But it's not about Texas football.
But if somebody wants to write us a song,
that'd rule.
I'm absolutely in.
Yeah.
So see if
I like it.
Faith Alexa is her name.
Yeah.
See if she will write a song. See if she'll be the official songwriter
of Dave Campbell's Texas Football.
We'll work on that.
I like it.
I'll get her like a jacket. It'll be great.
Can I have a jacket?
No. It's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. We are off tomorrow because it is Pickle's birthday. That's not true. We have other things to do, but we are off tomorrow. We'll be back on Monday. That's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Thanks again to Katy Paetow head coach David Hicks for being our guest. For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, pleasing to be your Player of the Year trophy. We will see you Monday on Texas Football Today.